is built for the task.
I think road games kind of fit the mold and our identity of this team, backs against the wall in a different environment, and so I think it fits who we are.
At your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, I'm Sam Nelson.
At 10:02, it's 52 degrees. Time at 10 brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Trevor drops, looks, fires back in the end zone, caught for the touchdown! Touchdown in the back of the end zone to Calvin Ridley, and Jacksonville has taken the lead. Checks it down underneath. That's a crossing route to Christian Kirk. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Christian Kirk to the goal line. Touchdown, Jacksonville. A crossing route to Christian Kirk, and the Jags have retaken the lead. Fires this one deep downfield, and that ball is going to be picked off. The Jags pick it off, and they're going to run it back. That is Dewey Wingard, picked it off in the middle of the field. He's still running it back. He got it into Pittsburgh territory. Andrew Wingard stepped up and picked that thing off.
Just disappointing the way we finished our season. Obviously, it's definitely not good enough. You know, things start with me, and I got to make sure that I'm holding myself accountable and I'm doing all I can to, help our football team win on and off the football field, but just not good enough.
It hurts, it hurts to not be able to finish, and you look at where we were at one point in the season and just finished really, really poorly and kind of, gave it away. So there's so many things you look at, and it's disappointing and frustrating, and we have a lot of really great players, and I think we have the potential to be a great team. We didn't finish the year that way.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Mike DeRocco, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome in. It's time for another edition of Jaguars Today. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark, and D-Rock is here to cap his marvelous season once again. You didn't have to buy us breakfast, which was nice. We thought about maybe we should, Tony, have done like whoever the season-long loser would have to buy a bonus breakfast the week after, but that's not part of the rules.
That's actually not a bad idea to
add
next
idea,
year.
Right?
I like that.
Little bonus week? Maybe we'll do that.
Sure.
We'll vote on that next year. So,
sure.
How are you? How are things? How's your week?
Doing great. You guys doing all right?
Everything's
all good, yeah.
Groovy.
I'm cold.
Everybody in Jaguar Nation and Jaguar Universe is happy and satisfied.
Has the angst
No.
faded a little bit? You don't
Whatever
think?
the question was, no.
No. No. No.
You don't think it has, huh?
I may have. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Here's the thing. We get in our bubble, and we think that the people that are commenting, the half dozen people that comment in a YouTube chat or bother to send you a text or a tweet are representative of everyone out there. I think there's a lot of folks out there that probably are like, hey, another winning season. Well, better luck next year.
Or express their displeasure and are like, nothing I can do about it now.
Right,
Let's
I'm moving
go.
on. But, there's still a very, no matter what you ask, doesn't matter if they don't fire Balky contingent, right? No matter what.
There's all that.
Should we have, a turkey for dinner? Doesn't matter if you don't fire Balky. It's going to be terrible turkey. It's going to be absolutely miserable. And maybe they're right. I don't know. They could be right about that. So, I would say the angst is, there's still, for those who are angsty, they're still angsty.
Angsty.
Nothing has changed, just a week has gone by or a couple weeks
The
now.
funny thing is it feels like the season ended 6 months ago. For me. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, it's been less than 2 weeks, and it feels like it was ages ago that the season ended.
It feels like it was ages ago that they were good. I'll
that
say
is true.
Like sitting back at 8-3, like that Cincinnati game. I mean, I clearly remember being in the studio, anticipating that one, the pregame, the whole thing, and how excited we were. But it does seem like, relevancy is a ways in the rear view. They were relevant.
Yeah,
right
relevant up
into
the last week.
And then they didn't get the job done. So let me ask you, D-Rock, because you're going to know as well as anybody, and you may not know the answer to this, okay? It's not like I go through with Mike, here's 17 things we're going to ask you on the program today, right? It's not how we operate around here. What is Shad Khan's confidence level in Trent Baalke? Like, beyond, it appears certainly that there's no move coming this offseason at this point. I think that's pretty safe to say. like, is this, I think Balky's doing the right thing. I got my eye on Doug Peterson here. Why did this coaching staff let things slide? Or injuries befell us? I'm not saying that these are I'm trying to get inside Shad's head from what you think his point of view is towards Trent, if you can even do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We don't get to talk with Shad very often, which is not unusual. That's the way it is, unless you cover the Cowboys and then you talk to the owner like every other day.
He's got a radio show.
Yeah. But based on things you hear and based on things, that you just see and observe around there, I mean, it's clear he felt like Balky was the guy to help them rebuild the franchise because he didn't clean house completely after 2021. So he has a level of confidence in Trent Baalke that, clearly a lot of people around here, fan-wise, certainly don't share. But I think if you look at it, this team was very talented, offensively, especially.
Skill position-wise.
Skill position-wise, yes. It was essentially the same team that last year, honestly, probably should have been playing in the AFC title game. They should have been able to beat the Chiefs that day, and they didn't. So I think there's a level of more blame on the coaching staff for this year than the personnel. Now, if you talk to the coaching staff, they're probably going to be like, "Hey, look, we didn't have a lot of now,
can't make chicken salad,
right?" And
Shad
understands the injury stuff. He certainly does. But that being said, there were games in that stretch that they should have won and didn't. So I think just the sense that I get is that there's a little bit more, in Shad's eyes view, blame for the coaching part of it for this year, as opposed to maybe the personnel part.
Tony, do you feel like when you look back at this team that this was an injury-plagued team this year? How do you feel like in regards to injuries? Did the Jags have good luck, bad luck, kind of neutral? What do you think?
I think it was just another year in the league is the way it felt to me. Like the injuries that Trevor Lawrence had to play through, I think that has an impact on the way he plays, right? And I think that trickles down to a lot of things that happened in the back half of the season, especially because that's when all that started to really pile up, was him having to deal with that week to week, not being able to practice all week and then playing in games. And I do think that has an impact on the on-field product for the team more than anything else that happened from an injury standpoint. But I don't feel like you look at some of the teams that made the playoffs, it's not like they were any more injured than those teams, right? Like, I don't look at it and say that's why it didn't happen for them this year. It didn't happen for them this year because for the back half of the season, they forgot how to cover anybody. Mm-hmm. They didn't communicate. The offensive line couldn't block enough for them to rush for 50 yards a game for most of that time. Like, there were major, major issues with the team, and that wasn't all because injuries had piled up on them. It was whatever their deficiencies were finally caught up with them in the back half of the season.
Now, I'll say this. I did, in that story about what went wrong that I finally ran earlier this week, I did go back and count the starts. So last season, 6 starters missed a combined 31 games. But that also
in 2022.
In 2022. But but that included Ben Barch and Shaq Griffin missing 12 each when they went on IR. This year, 9 starters missed 42 combined games, and that includes 8 by Cam Robinson. I counted the suspension in that because it just makes it easier to count with that way. But Kirk missed 5, Zay Jones missed 8, Trevor missed 1. 22 of those 42 were by those guys. Were Kirk, Zay, Trevor, and Cam. So, I mean, they were more injured than they were last season.
For sure.
But
I think they were super lucky the year before.
Correct.
I think this is how the NFL works, right? Like, you're going to go through the year and guys are going to get hurt.
Sometimes in some years, you get more than others. And that's just, sort of the way it all evens out. In 2017, this team was really, really healthy. 2018, not so much. And, people don't like to hear injuries as an excuse because every team deals with it. Well, yes, absolutely every team deals with it, but it doesn't mean that the injuries aren't a reason why they weren't as good as they probably should have been, because that impacts every team. It's not an excuse, but it's a reason.
All right, well, today we'll pick D-Rock's brain on how he thinks the offseason may play out. It's the last visit with us for a little while, at least last full show for a little while, but D-Rock will be back for the 2024 season, certainly, but he's here right now, so take advantage of his presence at 641-1010 on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Today on social media, this is a little weird to me. A couple days ago, we did a poll. We got exactly 1,200 votes on it, on the Josh Allen. You'd rather have him signed for 4 years, 110, as opposed to the franchise tag or let him test free agency. Yesterday, we did the poll on, based on where things stand, which of the things that we gave you options on would most improve the Jags offense this year. Exactly 1,100 votes on that one. Don't know what we'll end up with today, but it's already a much closer poll than either of those two were, as both of those were in the high 70s or more for the winning option here. Today we're asking you, what do you think will happen with wide receiver Calvin Ridley this offseason? Do the Jags franchise tag him? Does he sign a multi-year deal with the Jags? Or does he leave in free agency? Now, I have not heard a definitive word on this from the Jags, but we have all endeavored to dig into the weeds a little bit on this Calvin Ridley compensation situation, which we know when they made the trade for him, it was reported the Jags signed him to an extension. They'd have to end up giving up a second-round pick to the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Do you have something further on this?
Yes and no. Speaking with someone who has some,
some degree of expertise on contracts.
Yeah, and has dealt with the Ridley stuff a little bit, but if it happens, any contract signed after the beginning of the new league year would be considered a new contract instead of an extension.
Okay. Because
they theoretically have the ability to sign with any other team.
Okay.
So if free agency starts at 4 p.m. that day?
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So if at 5 o'clock he were to sign a new contract, that would not be considered an extension because his contract ended at 4 p.m. or 3:59.
So they only owe the second if they sign him to a deal before the beginning
That's
of the
what
league.
So what if they apply the
telling
franchise tag to him, and he says, great, I want to play for the franchise tag. And he said, just hypothetical, okay, because the franchise tag deadline is 11 days prior to the start of the new league year. So you've got to declare. Let's say they got a deal with Josh Allen done. Want to use the franchise tag on Ridley. Ridley goes, okay, next day, sign that paper. Is that an extension? Or is that a new contract because it's before the start of the league year?
My understanding, I was told this by somebody at the league, that a franchise tag is not an extension.
Okay. Well, there you go.
But there seems to be so much conflicting information on this.
Right. To me, and again, I'm just reading it by, I'm not a contract expert, and the reporters who reported on this initially are not either, right? And they're not trying to frame it with the technicalities. When they say an extension, that may be a little bit vague. To me, if he signs, if they tagged him and he accepted it and signed that deal, that's extending his tenure with the Jaguars. To me, that's a contract extension. Any contract you sign that extends your tenure, but by the letter of the league's law, they may feel differently about that.
Right. That's a new deal because it's a new season.
But wouldn't any deal be a new deal? What is an extension then? What exactly is an extension? If we rip up the one that we're currently on?
Here's the thing. If they sign somebody on let's just say, for example, Dwan Smoot, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So he has signed a 1-year deal.
Right.
And if he were to sign 2 days after free agency started with the Jaguars.
Would not be an extension, be a new.
We would all say, essentially, in our heads, and probably publicly and write it, sign an extension.
Right.
Okay. But it's not an extension.
Not technically an extension.
Not technically an extension. According to the legalities.
What if he signed it right now? What if
it's an extension?
Then it is an extension.
Correct.
Because he's still under contract.
Correct.
Okay.
By the legalities or the legalese,
that's what
the contract term. Yeah.
I think we all agree in this room, and stop me if I'm wrong, that the Jags are not going to be giving up a second-round pick to bring back Calvin. That they have a plan that if they want to retain Calvin Ridley, it will not include giving a second-round pick to the Atlanta
Seems
Falcons.
that way, yeah.
Right? Don't we? I mean, we feel pretty confident that they're not going to take that. If that's going to be the cost, they're not going to take that step. Because that was my one concern, that, like, if I sign that tag, and that's considered an extension, if I'm Ridley and I want to hit free agency, I tell you, you better not tag me. Because I got 11 days to sign that tag before the start of the league year. Don't tag me if you don't want to give up that second-round pick. You know, that's how his side could play hardball if he wanted to make sure that he got to see what his market value was, right? Because guys hate being tagged. That's the bottom line. So
Correct.
And now look, it may come to it that they use the franchise tag on Josh Allen. I know you've said that you think that's
the
the likelier
way
path
go. Yeah.
that it's going to end up going. Today's question, what do you think will happen with Calvin Ridley this offseason? Jags franchise tag him, he gets a multi-year deal with the Jags, or he leaves in free agency. Understanding that the multi-year deal would likely come after the window to where they'd have to give up a second-round pick. So I had people go, well, they'll franchise tag him so they won't have to give up the second-round pick. From what we believe, they could sign him to a long-term deal as long as they started it after the start of the league year, which would expose him to being able to go out there and finding out, hey, maybe Carolina wants to give me $20 million a year, whoever.
And let's not forget that the legal tampering period begins on the Monday.
Prior to.
The Monday prior to. So he could have his agent could already have another deal in place with another team.
But my main point here is for the folks who think, well, I'm not going to vote for a multi-year deal because they're not dumb enough to give up a second-round pick. There is a way, we believe, that as long as they wait till March 15th, and then they go out and everyone has a chance to sign him, and they say, all right, maybe they even have an agreement. Hey, like, Calvin, we're going to give you this. Would you re-sign for this? Yes, I would. Okay, we're not going to do it until the 15th because why would we want to give up a second-round pick? You want us to have that second-round pick. You're going to be here. That's going to be a better player. So we don't think there's any likely scenario where the Jags are giving up a second-round pick to the Atlanta Falcons is the bottom line. So just when you're reflecting on what you think the Jags will do, if that's going to influence your vote, we don't think it should. I don't think it's going to be a scenario where they announce Calvin Ridley signs prior to the league year because we're within our rights to do that before he hits free agency. And, we're going to give up that second-round pick. We just don't think that is going to happen. So, anyway, you can vote on that on social media at MD_1010XL. You can go to at 1010XL Fat Tony, at ESPN DeRocco, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Hold my pocket.
Good morning, Pockets.
Morning.
How are things?
I don't know. Same as usual.
You don't know? Everything okay?
Yeah, it's all good here.
Bad morning?
No.
Bad day? Bad night?
No, it's just same
Everything
old,
good
same
with
old.
The hacker?
The hacker's normal.
Okay, good. Good to know. All right, I don't know what else. I want to make sure that Pockets is doing okay. He's smiling in Pockets cam, so.
We golfing this weekend, though.
Oh,
not together, but.
Not together, but
yeah.
yes. You'll
Lunch
be
money's on the
golfing,
line.
I'll be golfing.
Yeah.
You're playing in that weather?
Yeah, got to.
I got a text. I don't want to read you the text I got from somebody who
I'm
texted me.
100% out
D-Rock.
myself. I'm like, I'm not
It's
playing
gonna
golf.
be cold, man. I'm not
49
playing.
degrees.
He's not playing.
The high's
It's gonna be
51.
cold. It's going to be
Look,
cold.
here's my thing. How many times do I make actual solid contact with the golf ball? Very rarely. So I don't want to vibrate the heck out of my fingers and have a couple fall off. These are the money makers. It's just a little too cold for me, honestly.
Okay.
You're not a talk to text kind of guy?
Well, I can't talk to my computer typing.
We'll find a way.
Yeah, well, I
there's
guess
got
I
to be a
probably
program
could. Yeah.
that does that.
I'm sure ESPN would be willing to invest in that for me.
They should,
Since I lost 7 fingers because I played golf in sub-zero temperatures.
All right, shelve your thoughts of how soft you are, and let's get into Jags offseason team building through the eyes of Mike DeRocco, what they can do to get this thing moving in the right direction, where he thinks maybe this defensive coordinator search is going to go, and any of your comments, questions, or concerns at 641-1010. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey for Awaken 180 weight loss. Feeling good, looking good. At least that's what people are telling me. Dropped a bunch of pounds. It's very, very noticeable. I'm down to a weight I haven't been down to in about 3 decades, all thanks to Awaken 180 and the fantastic weight loss program that they have, the great coaching that they have, the mindset that they instill you with. It's fantastic. It's been a lot of fun. It's fun when you get results, right? And anything you endeavor to do, and Awaken 180 guarantees you're going to get results. 4 to 5 pounds a week. Heck, my first week, I dropped 9.6 pounds, and the pounds have stayed off. That's the big key. Lost the weight all the way back in September, October, November, December. All those holiday months, all those holiday feasts, didn't matter. Awaken 180 had a plan for me. You eat to lose weight with Awaken 180. So no matter if you have 10, 15, 50, 100 or more pounds to lose, you can all benefit from Awaken 180 weight loss. Call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800. Did I mention free coaching for life? Once you hit your goal weight, check them out online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
This isn't real.
What is real? How do you define real?
1010XL.
Mia here for my friends at Arlington Toyota. No payments for 90 days and just $500 down can get you behind the wheel of a brand new Toyota. And with the help of Arlington's pre-approval program, that new Toyota will be sitting in your driveway sooner than you think. Plus, every new Toyota purchase comes with peace of mind of Arlington's lifetime warranty. That's unlimited time and miles. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, and online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Cold out there now? You want it warm and cozy inside. But is your home heating system safe to use regularly? Let Bold City Heating and Air perform a winter system checkup now for only $49. The Bold City team will optimize and revitalize your heating system so it's running safe and at peak efficiency. Don't waste hundreds by running your system poorly. Schedule a winter system checkup with BoldCityAC.com. Just $49 for peace of mind. Visit BoldCityAC.com.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit Stonecore today and let's beautify your home together. Stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
The Bulls are back in town and taking over Jacksonville. Get ready for bull bucking mayhem at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 23rd and 24th. U.S. Border Patrol PBR Jacksonville is bringing the city 2 nights of bull riding action, featuring the most electric 8 seconds in sports. Come see the toughest sport on dirt at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 23rd and 24th. Get your tickets today at PBR.com or Ticketmaster.
Be sure taking a liking to that radio.
You can't listen all day, every day, but you can catch what you missed on demand.
Go on demand at 1010XL.com.
You have the power to listen when you like.
On demand.
Brought to you by Underdog Fantasy.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation. Light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to CarlsonDentalGroup.com. That's CarlsonDentalGroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Now, the Florida State Seminole Report, brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team.
Number 15 Florida State women's basketball faces 25th ranked Syracuse Thursday night at 7. The Seminoles were the biggest riser in this week's AP Top 25 poll, moving up 6 spots following back-to-back ranked wins at home over number 20 North Carolina and number 11 Virginia Tech. FSU is looking for their first 6-1 start to ACC play since the 2017-2018 season. I'm RJ Saunders with your Ag Pro. Seminole Report.
AgPro has been family-owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Everyone had the same number. If everyone said $5 million in cap space or $50 million in cap space, we'd be like, oh, we trust that. Right? And because they all say the same thing. ESPN's got their own internal site that you look at.
Which we have access to the contracts and stuff.
Right.
The contract numbers, not all of the stuff in it.
Right. Which has the Jags at what cap space?
7.5.
7.5 million.
2024.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Spot Track has them at 17 million in cap space, roughly. 17.5. This is based on a $242.5 million cap projection. So I'm assuming that most of these are the same because Over the Cap has the same projection within a half million.
As does ESPN.
Okay.
$242 million.
And Over the Cap has them like 8.7 in cap space. So 7.5, 8.7, $17.5 million. I guarantee you, I read somewhere, I can't remember where it was, Jags have $24 million in cap space this offseason.
Spot Track have, do they just do like the top 51?
I think it is top 51. Yes.
So that might be why.
Yes. And is that what they actually count? And why would they only count the top 51?
I don't.
We need a capologist on this show, man.
Well, and they got to dumb it down for people like me because I just
tell me how much cap they have to spend on free agency, please.
That's what I need
So
to
now
know.
there are ways to create it. You know,
absolutely.
We've looked at it.
It is a little bit of a, like, I don't want to say it's a myth, but you certainly can create space.
Well, they play a shell game with the contracts every offseason.
Yes.
That's how NFL teams do it.
I think we were talking about it off the air with John Ogier yesterday. You know, it's like you can float money on credit cards, but eventually you got to pay it. You know, eventually it will catch up with you, and you're going to have to take a massive dead cap hit on somebody or whatever. So there are ways to create that space in the short term, but the bill eventually comes due. There are certainly some candidates on the Jags, and we'll go through them today, at least some of them, who may be cap casualties. In other words, you know, is he worth this price? If we have him, he's going to cost us this. And if we don't have him, this is how much we're going to be able to save against the cap if they're on the way out the door. 641-1010 on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines. Mike DeRocco's here. We got John on the west side to kick things off on the phone lines this morning. Good morning, John. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
Excellent. What's up, man?
Best football show on the radio. Bar none.
We appreciate it. Thank you, John.
My vote is they try to tag him. He walks, goes to Kansas City, becomes a Pro Bowler. And, you know, the way that Balky loves draft picks, I don't think he's going to give up anything. Mr. DeRocco,
yes.
With all the candidates out there, and now Ron Rivera says he wants the DC. In your humble opinion, who do you think fits best in this for this team and this personnel? And I'll listen to your comments off the air. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Let me just quickly before you answer that. If they do try to tag him, he can't just go to Kansas City, right? I mean, unless Kansas City wants to give you a bunch of compensation, which I don't anticipate that happening, but we'll deal with that with the Ridley stuff later. Do you think out of the coordinator candidates they've been connected to, is there one you think that makes the most sense?
Yeah, first of all, you don't hire a guy to fit your personnel. You hire the guy that's going to be the best coordinator that can get the most out of the guys that you have. That's the better way to look at it.
Okay, but isn't that, if you say get the most out of the guys you have, isn't that kind of saying fit your personnel?
Well, yeah, but you don't. But like the Jags are supposedly a 4-3 defense, right?
Are they?
3-4?
Yes.
3-4, excuse me. 3-4 defense. So you don't.
But
people
hold
would
on,
say
Mike.
you don't.
They're multiple.
Right.
I'm sorry, I had to throw that buzzword in there.
But that's the thing. Like, no one's truly a 3-4 or 4-3 because they're in base so little anyway. You're in nickel more than 60% of the time in the NFL.
I'll grant you that.
So,
I think it's more the man versus zone thing.
Yeah, I get that. And they're not really equipped to play a lot of man, I don't think.
Okay, so if you're not, do you bring in a coach that, like Wink Martindale, is known for being a hyper-aggressive blitzer, which leaves your guys out there one-on-one in man a lot?
It does, but if you want that D to be more aggressive, if you're Doug Peterson, then that's probably the guy you would look at and say, yeah, you know what, let's be a little bit more aggressive. I don't think we were aggressive enough at times this past year. I want to be more aggressive because more aggressive defense generally leads to big plays.
Both
but
ways.
It also give up big plays a ton that way. But when you play a team like the the Texans, do you want to go at, you got to look at all this stuff. Do you want to go at C.J. Stroud? He was pretty good against the blitz. So, that kind of stuff is.
But obviously, they have some interest in Wink Martindale to do a 2-day interview with him, right? To set it up that way where you're coming in, you're going to spend the night in town.
Right.
We're going to wine you. We're going to dine you, show you all the facilities, have this in-depth conversation. So he's certainly a guy. He's been a defense coordinator for 7 total years in the NFL. Right. And you're not going to get him just, I don't think by just treating him like any run-of-the-mill candidate necessarily. So they're showing you that there's some level of interest. Right. But is he the top of the list for you, or is there another?
For me?
Yes.
For me, probably not.
Okay.
Ryan Nielsen, the Falcons defensive coordinator, has done a really good job. Raised the Falcons, improved their defense significantly.
From like the mid-20s in some categories into the top 10.
Yeah. So, and
third best on third down.
Yeah, which is a big issue that the Jags defense has had over the last several years. Anyway, if you're good on third down, generally you're one of the league's better defenses. Generally,
Tony, I will admit, I find with defensive coordinator candidates, every time I read one of the resumes, I'm like, that's the guy.
Yeah,
right.
That's the guy.
I'm like, as long as you got a good list of candidates, I feel like, oh, Nielsen, I didn't know that much about him.
Talking about the man versus zone thing, right, in the secondary, I don't disagree that clearly this year they leaned more zone because they felt like they weren't good enough in man. Why? Why weren't they better in man coverage than they were this year? Like, what is the weakness when they try to run that it's not working when they run man?
Well, I don't think – well, with Tyson Campbell as a man coverage guy, he's got pretty good skills, but he still has some trouble locating the ball.
Right. That was the initial issue with him. He's in good position, doesn't get his head turned around.
Correct, which, he seemed to kind of take a step away from that last year.
He did.
But again, we don't know how much it was impacted by his injuries this year as well. Although he was in position against the Bengals and just didn't make the play. I don't know where I do know they like Monteric Brown. They like Christian Braswell, who basically didn't play at all this year. But I don't think those guys they're confident enough in those guys that feel like they can go play man with those guys, right? And remember, the big topic we talked about last year at the beginning of the year was who's going to be one of the big topics was who's going to be the nickel. Who's going to be the nickel? Is it going to be Greg Jr.? Is it going to be Trey Herndon? Well, it ended up being mostly Trey Herndon for much of the year.
I thought he had a pretty
solid year. Solid year. Yeah, no issues there. Solid year. I just don't think they're good enough there to play man.
So at the moment, Nielsen, I'm not saying, like,
I mean,
none
look,
of us have this
a lot
list
of
that
it-
we carry around
right.
of our 10 favorite candidates should the job come open. So
a lot of it depends on how well do you mesh with the head coach in the interview. He's familiar with Marquand Manuel, so maybe that's a guy to keep an eye on. Again, I think it should be.
Is he here today, Manuel?
I think it's,
I thought it was
what
today.
day is today?
Thursday.
Yeah, I think it's today.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a guy he's familiar with, knows the coaching style, knows how he may mesh with the guys in the locker room. I mean, a lot of it could be just the connection with the guy on the during the interview. I mean, you just never know.
All right, let's try to get one more in here quickly before the break, and then we'll come back with more of your calls. Coach B on the north side next up. Good morning.
Hi, how's it going, fellas?
Good. What's up?
I just got one thing to ask you guys. With the season ended the way it ended for the Jaguars, what are your thoughts on us getting a new stadium? I'll listen to your comments off the air. Thanks.
I think it had no impact.
Yeah.
My thought doesn't change one iota, at least in terms of now, look, I do think that if the Jags were back in the playoffs, if they had beaten Cleveland this week and were riding, imagine how the conversation would be different. We'd be like, damn it, we're back, baby. You know what? You counted us out, but we're back in the final 8, right? And we'd be going crazy, right? No matter how many deficiencies they have, and they would still have a lot of deficiencies, we wouldn't be focusing on we'd be like, wait till it's over because we're going to Vegas, right? So I think it's kind of a different, obviously a different vibe. I do think that good spirit lifts the city, and I think in that atmosphere, it's easier to have those conversations. But look, I think
doesn't change the fact that the city needs a new stadium.
The city, they need a new stadium. But in terms of like the likelihood of people getting on board with it, I just think it's easier to ride a wave of general enthusiasm. But I don't think Mayor Deegan all of a sudden is less interested in making sure. I mean, if the Jags walk on her legacy, that's all. No matter anything else she does, that's all I'm going to remember, right? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, and she knows that, and so does everybody else. It's a question of how motivated. You know, there's a lot of negotiating to get done. I still think it gets done. Do you think that losing 5 out of 6 has any impact on anybody's interest or desire to get a deal done?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, city council, Jaguars, mayor's office, no.
I don't think it's an unfair question, though. Like, I get it. Like, the team collapsed, and could there be some loss of enthusiasm among some fence sitters or something? I mean, I can't speak for everybody or anybody, really, but I wouldn't imagine.
It's more of a feeling around the city than anything else. I mean, like I said, the stadium, the belief is from the Jaguars in the city, the stadium's got to be redone. It has to be redone. Whether they win or lose, it has to be redone, and the city doesn't want to lose an NFL franchise.
Correct.
Bottom line, that's it. No matter if they were 1-15 or 1-16 or 16-1.
It's just easier if they're 13-4 and they're going deep into the playoffs. You're like, see how great this is. See all the buzz. See all the extra home games we're getting, and all
there for the press conference.
And
Mayor Deegan and
all
Josh
that.
Allen. Yeah.
All that's fun, but in the end. Let's just get it done, man. And I'm with you. As of now, I don't think anything has changed on that front. 641-1010 is the number. If you'd like to be a part of it, you're listening to Jaguars Today with Mike DeRocco as our guest host on this Thursday here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Tire Outlet. Are you tired of overpaying for your tires? Well, if you are, you certainly haven't been shopping at Tire Outlet. So cruise on in for the best selection, the best quality, and the best prices on the tires you'll need to keep you and your family safe on the road. Look, Tire Outlet's got over 4 decades of experience, 14 locations around the First Coast for great convenience. They're the brand you can trust to perform great service at a great price with expert technicians ready to do the maintenance and repairs to keep your vehicle performing at its best. Oh, yeah, they've got all those tires. Tire Outlet, where you always get wholesale prices and premium service.
2 hours spent on 2 things, your Jags and the rest of the NFL. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. 1010XL takes you inside the program director's office with Dan and Jeff.
What are you looking at?
Daddy hit me with the ball.
The Drill.
Jeez, you two, knock it off!
Mornings on 1010XL.
I think you were married or something.
Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard has the prices you've been waiting for on a new Cadillac.
We've got the all-electric 2024 Cadillac Lyriq SUV.
And we're taking $7,500 off at signing.
And this is not a tax credit.
Everyone qualifies at signing on the 2024 Cadillac Lyriq SUV.
We've got 13 in stock with 12 on the way.
Randy Marion is the place to go to find your dream Cadillac today.
Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville, plus tax tag title $899 admin fee and resistol.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn, Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty, a proud partner of the Jaguars. You're invited. Come out and drink Brackish Vodka at a grand opening for the new Players Grill in Mandarin.
Prosser here. Have you tried selling your home and it just wouldn't go? Have you thought about selling your home and thought the problems were too much? Let me give you your solution. It's chadandsandy.com. How's this for a promise? All right? This is a promise. Your home sold, guaranteed, or they will buy it. Chad and Sandy have the solution for your problems. In fact, they have the promises. So don't worry about required costly repairs. Nope. Pick your move date. Yes, you can. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. So many satisfied customers out there. How about Lee and Shelley in Deerwood? We heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called because we needed a miracle. We had to move my mom to assisted living and needed money ASAP to pay for it, but Mom's Condo Association was under litigation, which limited the sale to cash buyers only. Chad and Sandy went to work. They had our money 15 days later. Truly a miracle. Call the agents we trust and recommend. Call Chad and Sandy today at 904-414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, it's kind of cooling down right now. I love opening my windows up this time of year. If you're looking to upgrade your windows in your home, I want you to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Ask about their latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows and doors, rated #1 by Consumer Reports in all 3 main window categories. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. That's Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
If you're anything like your boy, emotions run hot and cold during the Jags game. I'm ET, and I'll give you my instant reactions right after the game on all 1010XL social media channels, powered by Brackish Vodka.
JEA is dedicated to keeping your utility costs down, so we offer programs and solutions to help you use less and save more. From simple and easy tips that reduce usage to free in-home efficiency assessments that show you ways to be more energy and water efficient, and efficiency rebates that help you save on appliance upgrades. Because as you're a community-owned, not-for-profit utility, we're here to serve you, and only you. To learn more, visit JEA.com.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O. If you want high-quality H2O in your home, call your local water boy, Keith, at Kanaya Water Jacksonville. That's KENAI Water Jacksonville.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us, but for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks, but I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners, always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
Hey, this is David here with Royal Pest Services. Do you have that room in the house that is just too cold in the winter and just too hot in the summer? To learn about our pest-rated insulation, visit RoyalPestServices.com or call 886-2847.
Are you facing a plumbing challenge? Need some septic system TLC? Or maybe you want to keep your indoor temperature nice and cool? We're Duck Duck Rooter, a locally owned company and proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we believe in turning every challenge into an opportunity to provide outstanding service. From unclogging drains to keeping your air conditioning crisp, we've got you covered. Contact us today for all your plumbing, septic, and air conditioning needs. 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769. Or online at duckduckrooter.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
While certain players on the Jags defense stood out this season, such as Foye Oluokun and Josh Allen, something still seems to be missing with that side of the ball. Former Jag Dave Whitell gave his thoughts on what the Jags need on defense and where it needs to come from.
I think this defense thought that they were going to coast to the playoffs. Foye Oluokun made a lot of tackles. I know that Josh Allen had 16 sacks, and a third of those were missed assignments when being unblocked. I'm not sure who can lead that defense. So that means we need a very, very strong voice at defensive coordinator.
Dave Whitell from The Bellew Show. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. D-Rock on Jags Today is brought to you by Lloyd's Heating and Air, commercial and residential.
The source here a little bit. Good morning, Dave. Do you recall 5 or 6 Josh Allen sacks where nobody even blocked him? I don't recall that. Anybody?
I don't specifically recall that, but I also think, look, we talk about it, this tunnel vision thing that people get. I'm not watching TJ Watt every snap.
Whatever percentage it is, TJ probably gets those too.
Right. I'm not watching Daniel Hunter every snap. Like the guys who are leading the league in sacks, I imagine every now and then they just get a free run at the quarterback, right? Like I imagine for all the guys that even despite the fact that they're the most dangerous of their position in the league, that every now and then they just aren't accounted for, and they take full advantage of that situation. I don't think it's any different with any of the other leaders.
All right, I've got to spend the next 5 minutes watching this YouTube video of every sack that Josh Allen had this year. This first one, he just ran Anthony Richardson down from behind. He certainly wasn't unblocked. It was a bit of a hustle sack because he came from the other side. There's one, okay? We'll keep updating as we go. Here's another one on the other side. This is kind of a cheap one because Richardson ran out of bounds on that one. That one we talked about at the time. You know, he ran out of bounds instead of throwing it away, and Josh Allen was the nearest guy in the vicinity, and he got credit for it. This other one, he bumped him out of bounds. A couple of them Richardson should have thrown it away. Wasn't a case of Josh Allen being unblocked, certainly not on the second one. He just dominated his man on this fourth one of the year I'm watching. Anyway, I question. Like, don't take everything you hear as complete gospel. I think that's Dave's opinion. And I do agree with you, Tony, that I think if you looked at any of the guys, Myles Garrett, any of these guys, they're all getting a handful on busted plays. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah, and they take advantage of good matchups for them, too. That's what the guys who push 20 sacks in a season do. They get a matchup where it's like, I'm going to own this guy today, and they do. They go out and they get 3. That's how you get to 20. It's not getting one every week. It's having those weeks where you get 3 and 4, and then you look up and you're like, oh, this dude's on top of the league. Like, that's how those things happen. We watched J.J. Watt do that against the Jags his whole career in Houston, right? The Jags offensive line that whole time was garbage. And J.J. would be having an all-pro level year. He was a fantastic player. And when he played the Jags, mark it down, he's getting 2. Right? Like, it was every time he went up against this team.
And he moved all over the place.
Right. Because of how weak they were, he took full advantage of it. Good for the players that are good enough to do that kind of thing.
How do we score it when he so abuses the left tackle that the guy gets a hand on him, but it's an ineffective push because Josh whipped him that bad? Was he unblocked because they decided not to block him, or did he just beat the guy,
beat his guy
that badly?
Yeah.
Like, I'm watching this first one against Desmond Ridder here, and Josh Allen comes in, and the left tackle, the Jags blitzed, I think it might have been Rayshon, up the chute, and they created kind of like a 2-on-1 situation. The guy kind of hesitated, and he went with Allen and tried to shove him wide and was ineffective doing it. I don't know if that's unblocked or that's just a good scheme or whatever the case may be. Anyway, 17.5. Give him full credit. All right, let's go back to the line, 641-1010, and get to Joe C. in Arlington next up on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Joe.
Hey, you guys got me?
Yes.
Hey, man, I actually like the coordinators that they actually brought in. I actually like the coordinators that they brought in, but I still said it like I said when they fired Mike Caldwell. I believe that it doesn't matter the personnel you got if you don't have the players. If you don't bring the right players in, if you draft luxury picks, you're not going to be able to do anything correct. We need to make sure this year we don't repeat those same mistakes, thinking that we're good enough. And as far as, like, I think they thought that they were going to be able to develop guys. Well, only guy who looked like they developed was Trayvon Walker. Trayvon Walker is the only one who looked like he developed. Josh Allen deserves that big contract that he deserves. He's the only person that deserves a big contract. And that's all I got, and I'll take your comments off here.
All right, appreciate it. I don't think there's any other candidate for a massive contract anyway. I mean, they might like to retain Ridley. I don't think he's getting top of the market money, but look, you've got it. I think Josh Allen developed. I mean, I don't think you go from not having double-digit sacks in like 4 years to going to 17.5. I think you got to give credit to Josh Allen, but you got to give credit some to the coaching staff as well for getting that performance out of him and putting him in that position to get the job done. But certainly, you can't. I mean, that's been the thing. They've drafted how many inside linebackers in the last few years? How many running backs?
Goodness.
That they've gotten hardly anything out of. Some of it due to injury. In the case of Ventrell Miller, who knows what would happen this year, but that seemed like a luxury pick regardless. I mean, I don't know how many at that point walk-in starters there were, but there were certainly other areas I think that needed more shoring up. As we talked about with the pass rush, they drafted one guy, and he was inactive 2/3 of the year. And Yasir Abdullah couldn't force his way onto the field on a team that just the top two guys were outstanding in the sack department. Beyond that,
not much
impact at all. Let's go to Mike on the south side next up. Hello, Mike.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing this morning?
Doing well. What's up?
I wanted to talk about Trent Baalke, the GM, and also Doug Peterson. I think a coach's job is to get the most out of their players and then put them in the best position to win. Trent's job is personnel. So I look at his body of work, Trent, and outside of his time with the 49ers, he didn't really have a whole lot of success. So my question is, look what Doug did with Philadelphia. He won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles and a pretty garbage team. But my question is, with Trent, how much faith do you guys have in him in the future, and how much of his success at the 49ers was attributed to Harbaugh?
I have no idea at this point. I don't really care about what happened with him in the 49ers. I'm stuck in this. Doug Peterson won the Super Bowl with a garbage team up in Philadelphia? You kidding me? They had a great offensive line. They didn't. It wasn't Nick Foles and a bunch of who?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That seems silly to me.
No, but he does deserve credit for winning with Nick Foles.
Sure he does. Right, and
100%.
Nick Foles played like a all-pro quarterback.
It was unbelievable
during that stretch. It was fantastic, but he had some help. I mean, it wasn't like they were completely bereft of talent on that team. Clearly, this is a guy who thinks that all the credit should go to Doug for any success and none of the credit should go to Balky, and that's fine. We've heard this a million times. No one here is sitting going, Trent Baalke deserves a contract extension or even deserves to be around. I can't speak for D-Rock. I know Tony and I would have moved on. At this point, I don't care what he did in San Francisco. I care what he does here. It doesn't matter how much success you attribute to whatever. He's here now. All that's water under the bridge. Doesn't matter, really. Did he do a good enough job this year? No. But I have no say over the matter. We've stated it many times. We would have moved on from Trent Baalke many times, including this offseason. But doesn't appear like it's going to happen. So we can all sit here and go, oh, it's all Trent's fault. It's all Doug gets all the credit. What difference does it make, honestly, in the end? We know that. I feel that. I'm not saying none of the blame goes to Doug Peterson. Coaching has to take some responsibility when you collapse and lose 5 out of your last 6. You have to. You had the same personnel, basically, that got you to 8-3. And I understand you had a few key injuries or what have you. Teams overcome those injuries all the time. You have to figure out a way to do it. You can't collapse. You can't lose to the Titans, a team that had scored 3 points the week before. You give up 28 and get it run down your throat. You can't have that. That's not, at that point, that's not Trent Baalke's fault. Trent Baalke was still the GM when they were 8-3, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying Trent Baalke's not blameless in any. Obviously, it's all intertwined. And if you listen to us, it's not the first time we've talked about it. I feel like
there's never one reason for anything.
We're just in a rut on this. Like, again, no, everyone's unhappy with the job Trent Baalke's done. Okay, I don't disagree.
One guy isn't, and that's the only guy that matters.
I don't disagree with Mike.
Yeah.
For most of the point he's making, okay. Well, we can go back there and go, oh, you know what? We've solved it. Everything in San Fran that was good was Harbaugh's benefit, and it was all Baalke's fault, anything that went wrong. What difference does it make? Schott hired him. He's keeping him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can make that case. That case was the case that Schott should have been asking Trent about when he hired him to begin with, and maybe he did, and obviously he gave him an answer that convinced him that, he brought value to the organization. And until and unless Shad Khan feels differently about it, it's not going to change. I don't know. Again, I understand why people are upset. I think at some point, you're just going to give yourself an ulcer, man. I mean, it's serious. Like, okay, you're not happy with Trent Baalke. And what? I mean, what's the next follow-up? Like, you're not going to follow the Jags. You're not going to go. That's your prerogative. Do whatever you like, honestly. But he's going to be the GM. So, as we discussed yesterday, Tony, I'm more of the mind trying to figure out what are the moves we think are the right moves to make regardless of who the GM is. Mm-hmm. And let's see if they follow up and make those kind of moves. Yep. And by the way, there are going to be moves that I think they should make that'll turn out to be terrible moves if they make them, right? I mean, that's just I'm not sitting here saying I am perfect at I was all on the Justin Houston beat. Maybe he was the wrong guy, okay? But I thought they needed a pass rusher. I know Baalke's opinions on certain other veteran pass rushers that came to be very damn true. Like things he said, and D-Rock, you know what I'm talking about certain players. I'm not going to get into them because he says things off the record at times and to give you his thought process. And it turned out he was spot on about a few guys that we thought, man, that guy probably come in here and help. And they're guys that everyone would be like, I know that. Oh, that guy's much better than this guy that we have because they have a bigger name. And he turned out to be exactly right about those. So it's not like he is wrong about every single decision he's ever made. It's just that collectively, the feeling is they rested on their laurels and didn't do enough to inject more talent onto this roster this past offseason.
Yeah, it's hard to get past the way this season ended and see that they won the division last year, could have won the divisional round of the playoffs, and were 8-3. Right? Like, it's hard to see all of that with how negative the season ended. Right, and in large part because of all the things that we thought might catch up. If it's going to catch up with them, it's going to be this, this, and this. And, well, the back half of the season, that's what bit them. It's all those things that everybody pointed out, and it's fair to point those things out. And as we've tried to make clear, yeah, I'm fine with Trent Baalke not being the GM anymore. He is. They got to put together the best team they possibly can with him as the general manager. Let's go.
Right, or let's not. I mean, if Shad wants to make a move, nobody's going to cry about it, except the Baalke family probably, and I get it. I don't hate Trent Baalke personally.
No.
I think Trent Baalke wants to win, but GMs get fired all the time. It's the nature of the job.
GMs and head coaches hired to get fired.
Hired to get fired, man. And so I don't disagree with Mike's larger point, but I just feel like at a certain point, okay, we can all acknowledge, great, yes, we'd move on and then what? So we all agree that now what? Okay, can we get to the point where we're like, okay, I hope he makes this decision because this is what we need to do for this football team. By the way, did you like Anton Harrison? Do you think that was good? Not only getting him, but trading back twice, accumulating more picks. Instead of just taking him, they got the pick that turned into Antonio Johnson as part of the compensation for moving back.
Yeah.
So if you like those two guys, that's a pretty savvy move, right? Like you got a guy who graded out as probably the best right tackle rookie in the National Football League by most pundits out there. And you picked up a guy we're all excited about in the 5th round. All right, so that wasn't terrible. I'm not saying Brenton Strange gave you a big impact. I'm not saying Tank Bigsby turned out to be a good pick. I'm not saying Tank Dell or not Tank Dell. Who am I thinking of? Tyler Lacey. Sorry. Too many T's with short names. Can we have Tank Dell, please?
Yeah,
you know what I'm
nice.
saying?
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, I'm not trying to stump for Trent Baalke. I've been very clear about how I feel about it. I feel like at a certain point, like everyone answers to any question we ask. It doesn't matter if they don't fire Baalke. Really? I mean, because if Calvin Ridley gets franchise tagged or not, whether Baalke's a GM or not, is it a good move or a bad move? It doesn't matter if Baalke's a GM. The move in itself, how would you feel about Calvin Ridley being back on the tag or being back on a long-term deal or being allowed to walk away in free agency, whatever? Whether Baalke's a GM or not, these decisions have to be made. How do you feel about them? That's more what interests me at this point.
And the thing that people don't realize, too, is in that position, personnel and GM, you miss more than you hit. That's just the nature of the position. You miss more than you hit. The problem is, or what you hope is, you don't continue to miss. You have 2 or 3 good years. You know what I mean? That you can string the years where you don't miss more than you hit back to back to back. That's what you really want to do.
Look, I think part of it is right now Detroit and Houston are playing, and Green Bay are playing with a ton of young players.
Correct.
That they drafted right now, and they're making instant impacts, and we're like, why are we not that? And that's fair, right? Because those players were eligible to be drafted by the Jags as well, and some of them were players that we discussed mightily, like Brian Branch, for instance. As
that was a guy that we thought they could take.
And I'm not saying that. And again, you can't have everything. Okay, so you didn't get Brian Branch, but are you happy with Anton Harrison? Because Brian Branch, people were like, let's take him in the 1st round, right? And I mean, I'd much rather have the tackle that looks like he's got a long-term future than the safety. That's me personally. But anyway, Mike, I don't disagree with a lot of the points you're making. Where do we go from that? If we all agree on that, if we give that as a given, right? We'll accept that as established fact in this court of law. Okay? Where do we go from there? That's the question. All right, Jaguars Today, moving into the hour 2 with Mike DiRocco on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Underdog Fantasy. Your fantasy football season is over. The NFL season is not, so you can still win some cash playing fantasy sports with Underdog throughout the NFL playoffs with their Pick'em game. All you do, pick higher or lower on projected player stats throughout the NFL playoffs and spice up the games a little bit, and you can win up to 100 times your money if all your picks hit. Underdog is really easy to play, but it's even easier to get started. All you do is go to the App Store and download the Underdog Fantasy app and sign on up, and you can also do it at UnderdogFantasy.com in your browser. Either way, use promo code 1010XL when you sign up, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. They'll even give you a special pick of higher than 1/2 total yards to use as a gimme to get you rolling on your first Pick'em weekend. Look, I love daily fantasy sports, but I love it at nowhere else better than I do at Underdog Fantasy. So sign up and use promo code 1010XL. You do have to be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go. Your home for Gators Hoops is 1010XL.
It's 2 in a row on the road as Florida travels to Mizzou.
Gators Tigers, Saturday at 8 on 1010XL.
Lauren Brooks here from Mayport CNC Fisheries. Want the freshest seafood in town? From mahi to tuna to scallops to oysters. Mayport CNC Fisheries is in Atlantic Beach. Do what I did. Go enjoy Mayport CNC Fisheries.
This is Hayes Carline here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish Revolution, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Whether you're undertaking a major home renovation or just a simple repair request, American Electrical is your 5-star Jacksonville-based electrician to get the work done right. Experienced design building department working seamlessly with their electrical contracting department to help you create beautiful lighting spaces and electrical plans that make your house flow. And remember, with American Electrical, it's wired right at a fair price. Call American Electric at 737-7770. Look for that red, white, and blue eagle on the side of their truck, and you'll know it's American Electrical.
Good people drink good beer, and great people drink Mocama, a refined craft brewery out of Fernandina Beach, Florida. Mocama Beer Company brings sophisticated flagship beers, including Cosmico IPA and Dune Garden Lager, to the greater Jacksonville area. Whether you're hitting the water with friends or enjoying a backyard barbecue, Mocama has the perfect pair for your summer activities. Look for us wherever great beers are sold and find your Mocama.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. It's getting chilly outside, but you can enjoy the outside inside with a new glass lanai from Lifetime Enclosures, or look ahead and get that backyard ready for spring with a new screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are the best in the business. Give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you be active, reach weight loss goals, and find your inner strength while you connect with your community. Family memberships at the Y include unlimited group exercise classes, childcare while you work out, and youth sports participation. It's easy to join the Y and affordable for all. Plus, the Y is a great place to meet a new circle of friends. Visit the Y near you or online at fcymca.org.
New and pre-owned firearms are always in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimbar, Smith & Wesson, Sig Sauer, and Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hicken here. The Borland Groover Foundation proudly presents the annual March to Get Screened 5K race and 1 mile fun run. Sunday, April 14th. The race starts at 7 a.m. under the Fuller Warren Bridge. Their mission, raise awareness about colorectal cancer and related deaths. All proceeds benefit the Borland Groover Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Make a difference in our community for 2024. Brian King here, Chairman of the Board of Governors of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida. Each Boys and Girls Club offers a safe environment to kids in need each and every day with homework assistance, career readiness, and a hot meal. Consider brightening the life of a child by sponsoring a pizza party at one of our area clubs. As you do your giving, help us brighten the life of a child. Go to bgcnf.org to learn more.
Here's your 1010XL local sports update, sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. FSU men's basketball played in-state and conference rival University of Miami at Coral Gables. The Noles, riding a 4-game winning streak, were happy to make it 5 with the victory over the Hurricanes. It was a team effort. FSU had 4 players in double figures, and they never trailed in the game. Wednesday morning, redshirted junior defensive tackle Darrell Jackson announced that he was coming back to the Seminoles for another season. Jackson is expected to be one of the top defensive linemen on the roster following a year where he was forced to sit out due to his eligibility waiver being denied as a 2-time transfer. Around the NBA in-state, the Orlando Magic took on the Atlanta Hawks. Much of the game was back and forth, resulting in the Atlanta victory. The Miami Heat dropped the game to the Toronto Raptors. That's your 1010XL local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
At 11:10, it's 57 degrees. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Mike DeRocco, Thursday on Jaguars Today, is brought to you by Lloyd's Heating and Air on 1010XL.
All right, this one on the text line is on by Lifetime Enclosures. Josh Allen was not the game breaker that Mike, meaning me, thinks he is. Half of his sacks were because someone else caused the pressure. Look it up. We just got done watching all of them. Would you say half of Josh Allen's 17.5 sacks, D-Rock, we'll call it 9 of his 17.5, 8.5 to 9 were caused by somebody else's pressure? I didn't see that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you occasionally get that. That's how, like, as D-Rock said on the break, that's how sacks happen.
Yeah, I would just ask, for whom among these sack leaders is that not true if it's true for Josh Allen? Tell me which of those guys that's among the leaders in sacks in the league isn't getting help from somebody when they're getting a sack.
Sure,
they're doing it on their own the whole time. Give me a
Sometimes
break.
you beat the guy in front of you and you whip him and you get in there and it's all you. And there's examples of, I just watched him, Josh Allen doing exactly that.
If there's a stunt, does that not count? And you win off the stunt?
Because you
looped
guys reacting
around
to somebody
inside,
else.
yeah,
Right.
and you looped around inside and you get a sack. Does that not count? That's how sacks happen.
Right.
I mean, it's sometimes you beat your guy. Sometimes you don't beat your guy. It's a stalemate. And then the quarterback gets flushed towards you. You disengage, you grab the guy, and you bring him down.
Off the top of your head, Josh Allen's defensive season this year ranked where in Jags history? Top what?
Yeah, top
5?
Yeah, I was going to say top 5, yeah.
In the history of the franchise.
Yeah. I mean, if 17.5 sacks were easy to get, other guys would have hit that number a lot, and nobody has here.
Yeah.
Nobody has
No one's been
here.
close.
No, Calais was 14.5.
Right, I'd put Calais this season, but he was wrecking shop, man. He was,
yeah. And look,
causing turnovers, the whole, I'd put that at the top. But if you're not, you can still be very disruptive and not be the greatest in franchise history.
Correct. I can't speak to watching all of those, seasons and guys that had great years. And didn't Rasheen have like a bunch of interceptions
I was just
one
looking.
year?
Did he have? I think he had an 8 interception season.
Which is not easy to do either. So I can't really speak about that. But if you said, my guess would be it's in the top 5. If the team had won some of those games down the stretch and we're still playing in the playoffs, and you probably would rank it a little higher, maybe just thinking about it. But
Rasheen had an 8-pick season. He had another one in 12 games where he had 4 picks, including 2 of them returned for touchdowns, and had the most return yardage. They had more return yardage on those 4 than he did on the 8. Those are 2 pretty good years, right?
I got to think Stroud or Henderson had a couple of monster seasons.
Right,
there
and it's not going to reflect in the same stats.
Correct.
But
correct.
it was top 5, top 10. I mean, and we're probably trying to be ultra conservative here. Right?
How many guys were legitimately in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation? Calais and Josh. In the time that I've been covering the team, that's it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't really speak before, but I mean, I would imagine if you're 8 picks, you have 8 picks, you probably should be in that Defensive Player of the Year conversation, depending on what else is going on.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I mean,
I don't know
know
all
what
the
else
details of the rest of the league.
And I'm glad we had the poll a couple days ago where it was so overwhelmingly in favor of giving him the deal.
Yes.
Right? Like, I'm glad that we have that too, and that it's clear there are still some very small group of the fan base that just can't accept that Josh Allen might just be a really good player, right? Like, they just can't accept that the guy might just be good, right? And now he's in line to get a contract, and if he can't accept that, that's on you, man. I do accept that. I think Josh Allen is a Pro Bowl level player, and I want him to be here for the next 5-6 years of his career.
Now, that being said, D-Rock, you think that they're going to make him prove it again. I mean, you've said that.
That's my guess and my feeling and my gut feeling from, being around there and talking to some people. I think they're going to put the franchise tag on him. I think there's an element of, hey, do it again. Because you were a 7, 8 sack guy
for
first
4
years of your career.
Right.
And now all of a sudden you're 17 and a half in a contract year.
Yeah.
Well, he was a double-digit guy his
knowing
rookie
Josh, let me rephrase that because we don't ever know these players. But knowing the kind of work ethic he has and talking to people in that building and understanding the work that he put in, he didn't do it because it was a contract year. He did it because he wants to be a really, 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 really good player, and he wants to win a Super Bowl. So the thought that he only had the season because it's a contract year with Josh Allen, I would argue to the death on that one.
I understand that, but I do also understand then people saying, well, then why did it happen this year? Why didn't it happen the year before? Did he not have the same work ethic? Did he not have
Nope, he had the same. Sometimes you finish and sometimes you don't.
All right. But I don't think that's an unfair question.
It is not an
for
unfair
people to look at, and because we do look. If somebody else in another city, if we went out and signed Josh Allen from another team with the same career path or a comparable player, we'd be like, did he do it because it was a contract year? We'd be asking that question. Now we feel like we know Josh a little bit more, and I'm not doubting that aspect. I do think he's a hard worker. I do think he cares. I do think he loves his franchise and his fan base and all those things. He's exhibited that. But I think there are plenty of people out there, plenty of circumstances out there where the guy has the peak year in a contract year.
Oh, yeah.
And then he never comes close to matching it again.
Now, look, did Trayvon being a better rusher help him? Absolutely. 100%.
Trayvon was certainly helped by having Josh.
I think it worked a lot more the other way.
Well, but it worked both ways.
They help each other.
Yeah,
They're
to
supposed
some
to.
That's the way it works.
Yeah.
He took some different approaches this year mentally from what he was telling us, at some point during the season. And he didn't come here for the off-season stuff. He showed up for minicamp. He instead did some work around on his own and showed up in great shape. So, I expect him to do the same kind of things that he did last offseason.
All right, let's take a quick break here because we're getting a little behind. And if you're on the line, we'll get to you straight out of it on the other side at 641-1010. We've got plenty of things we want to throw at Mike DiRocco in the final couple of segments today. So take advantage if you have a specific question or comment as well. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Studios.
JOI, where the pros go. Joe C., Matt Hayes, Leon Searcy, and Mia O'Brien.
What about the motto of the Musketeers? All for one and one for all.
XL Prime Time.
All for one? One for all.
Weekdays noon to 3 on 1010XL.
Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard has the prices you've been waiting for on a new Cadillac.
We've got the all-electric 2024 Cadillac Lyric SUV.
And we're taking $7,500 off at signing.
And this is not a tax credit.
Everyone qualifies at signing on the 2024 Cadillac Lyric SUV.
We've got 13 in stock with 12 on the way.
Randy Marion is the place to go to find your dream Cadillac today.
Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville, plus tax tag title $899 and fee and resistol.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Whether it's a large commercial project or a multi-family property, trust All Pro Roofing for exceptional craftsmanship and unparalleled customer service. We use only the finest materials, ensuring durability and long-lasting results. Plus, All Pro Roofing now has a full siding and windows division. That's right, All Pro Roofing is not just about roofs anymore. All Pro Roofing, now your trusted partner for commercial roofing, multi-family projects, exterior siding, and windows. AllProRoofingLLC.com.
License number CCC 1327056.
CDC 060138.
We're in Florida, and pest problems are persistent. Want them gone? Mission accomplished with Mission Pest Solutions. Veteran and locally owned and operated, Mission Pest will blow your mind with their communication and response time for all your pest, termite, and mosquito needs. Text or call 904-944-PEST. You'll speak directly with the owners. Mention 1010XL when you call 944-PEST. You'll get 25% off your initial pest or termite protection service. Mission accomplished with Mission Pest Solutions.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
He thinks he knows what he's talking about.
Of course.
Find out if he does.
Is there anything else we need to know?
Catch CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco every Friday afternoon on The Franchi Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
This is Keith Catlin for Catlin Truck Accessories, and we are so blessed to be in business for over 100 years. Over 100 years of the best products and customer service means you can count on Catlin. From roll-and lock bed covers to Lear toppers, cam locker toolboxes, Catlin Truck Accessories has you covered when it comes to your truck or van. We do those too. Got a fleet of vehicles? We can outfit them all.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
One name, one location, 100 years. You can count on Catlin.
Attention veterans, if you have a VA loan, you need to listen to this, especially if your current rate is higher than 6.5%. Now is the time to take advantage of the federal government's VA Streamlined Refinance Program. With my friends at Loan Pronto, you can. Go to loanpronto.com. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto has fixed rate APRs in the 5s. You can drop your rate now. Lower your payment with no income documentation and no appraisal. Do it at loanpronto.com. Their all-digital platform makes it easy. They can even cover your closing costs. If you need cash now, Loan Pronto can get you up to 100% of your home value. You can pay off all your credit cards or other debt and save as much as $1,000 a month. Call Loan Pronto now at 904-999-1508 or get a 30-second rate quote at loanpronto.com. Ask about streamlined VA loans, no income doc, and no appraisal. Loan Pronto, 999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
The Florida sun is burning bright and coastal waters are sparkling. You need a boat. Come to the Jacksonville Boat Show, January 26th, 27th, and 28th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center. Don't miss killer deals on boats and accessories, plus fishing seminars, kids events, music, and fun. The Jacksonville Boat Show, presented by ViStar Credit Union. Tickets at boatjacks.com. That's boatjacks.com. Buy a boat.
Ready to spice up your Wednesday? Head to Players Grill for Wing Wednesday. Enjoy mouth-watering wings for just 75 cents each. Plus, make it a happy hour all day long. Cheers to unbeatable deals and good times. Players Grill, where the neighborhood meets.
Duck Rooter is now hiring plumbers. We offer excellent weekly pay, paid holidays, health insurance, 401k, and so much more. Apply now at duckduckrooter.com. That's duckduckrooter.com and click on the careers page. Duck Rooter is an equal opportunity employer.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Mike DeRocco on Jaguars Today is kept comfortable by Lloyd's Heating and Air on 1010XL.
D-Rock in the house. Couple more segments to go here on this Thursday. Let's get Patrick in Clay County in before we go around the rest of the National Football League. Good morning, Patrick. Patrick, you with us?
Hey, guys, what's up?
How you doing?
Yep, I'm here. Hey,
okay.
what's up?
What's up?
Hey, well, first off, Mike, I agree with you. You know, there's a lot of Jaguar fans that want Balke fired. and I would agree with him. But the reality is that he's not going to get fired. So there's Jaguar fans that are hoping they're going to wake up and see him fired tomorrow, but that's not going to happen. But I think the most frustrating thing, and I speak for most Jaguar fans, is it just seems Balke is kind of going unchecked. And I think a lot of Jaguar fans are frustrated by that. I think they just want some accountability from that position because he is.
All right, what does accountability look like to you, Patrick? Is it us all complaining about him, or is it Shad Khan? I mean, isn't he ultimately the only one who can hold him accountable?
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
No, the point I was trying to make is yeah. I mean, I do think that Balke has gone unchecked, and I think that it's frustrating to Jaguar fans. Like, it was inexcusable. We should have won the division this year. And at the end of the day, the buck stops with him and Shad Khan. Obviously, the only person that's going to change that is Shad Khan. And I just think Jaguar fans just want to change there at that position. But my question is like, do you think they don't make the playoffs this year? Do you think they would actually make a lot of changes? Like, or
possibly,
in your opinion?
Possibly. Let me just ask you, and I promise you we'll answer that, but does Doug Peterson deserve any blame for this? Like, is he going unchecked?
Absolutely. I think that, in my opinion, I don't think he should have given play calling to the offensive coordinator. Doug Peterson's supposed to be this offensive genius, and he gave his play calling duties to the offensive coordinator, and it just seemed that the play calling kind of sputtered a little bit. I feel like it just didn't gel well. So, yeah, I do think Doug Peterson also deserves blame and to be held in check.
All right, but let me ask you, how do you hold Doug Peterson, other than firing him, how do you hold him in or hold him to account if you're Shad Khan?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a hard thing to say because obviously, I don't think the owner is going to tell him exactly what to do. You know what I mean? But my guess is if I was Doug Peterson, I would take back play calling duties next year for sure. Because that's his bread and butter, right? So
right, but that's a Doug decision, isn't it? Though, and I'm not trying to get under your skin here. I'm just as we say this, we don't know for one thing any conversation Shad has had with Trent Baalke. We have no idea, right? So for all we know, Shad has said, you're on thin ice. If I don't get results this year, you're out of here. We don't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, right? I'm just saying that's a possibility. Maybe he said the same thing to Doug Peterson. Maybe he didn't. So when we say that there's no accountability, I think we feel like unless he gets fired, it's free reign to do whatever he wants. And I don't know if we know that to be the case. Regardless, but
I think a lot of Jaguars just want some change at that position.
Oh, I understand, and we're not. And Tony and I, because I can speak for Tony, because I know Tony's thoughts on this. We share them all the time. We're right there with you. But if it's not going to happen, I'm not going to go. Well, none of it matters if they don't get rid of Ball. If they don't make these changes that I think they should make, none of it matters. It all matters. It still all matters. They're still going to go through this offseason and procure players and sign them to contracts that even if Baalke's fired next year, they're still going to be beholden to these contracts. So all the moves that they make, and some of them may be good moves, right? So anyway, let me, without getting any further bogged down, let us answer your question, and thank you for the call.
What was the question?
The question is, if they fail to make the playoffs, do we think major changes are coming next year?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree.
Yep.
Including possibly the whole thing could be, new GM, new head coach.
Yeah.
Very possible. You
know?
Look,
Shad Khan ridiculously disappointed by this season, as he should be, just like all Jaguar fans. Very angry about the fall. Very angry about some of the plays that were called. Very angry about some of the things that happened on defense. So, yeah, he was not happy about this. That is – I don't know that it's a win or you're, playoffs or you're gone type of thing, but they better be in the playoffs next year because they, you know what I mean?
I don't know if it is.
I'm just saying, look, if I don't know if he's told him that, but if you want to ensure that job, you probably ought to get there. Because they convinced Shad, Shad believed that they were close to being able to win it all.
What if you lose your quarterback for half the year and you win 10 games and you miss the playoffs, right? So there are circumstances. I'm not saying for you. I'm just saying I can't, as an absolute, say if they miss the playoffs, there are going to be major changes. I think the likelihood is yes, but there are circumstances that could explain why. I think we'd all agree if they lose their quarterback, let's say, and I don't even want to say it, right? Let's say they lose 4 of their top players for the majority of the season, right? I mean, it happens to teams, right? And you missed the playoffs in that circumstance. Like, is Cincinnati firing everybody? They lost Joe Burrow, and they almost made the postseason, but they didn't, right? So that's not going to get you fired, right? I'm just saying, I can't hard and fast say if they miss the playoffs, it's going to be sweeping changes across the board. But I would anticipate, if they miss the playoffs, there's going to be some significant changes. But just can't guarantee that. We don't know. Unless you know, D-Rock, any of these conversations.
But when they ask that question and I say yes, my assumption is I just work on the assumption that they're going to have everybody and there will be the normal amount of injuries that you go through, like this season.
And that's fair. I just I try to be as specific as possible because someone will say, "You said if they didn't make." Well, there are circumstances. There are conditions that can change your opinion on how. Look, I remember the Patriots missing the playoffs, winning 11 games one year with Matt Castle as their quarterback because they lost Brady as the year after they went undefeated. Right? Yep. Is that a bad year? You know what I mean? They missed the playoffs, but. Could you imagine winning 11 games, missing the playoffs, doing that with a backup quarterback and firing the coaching staff or the GM? I couldn't under that scenario. So that's all I'm saying is you can't – there are scenarios where it could play out where they could miss the playoffs and you're still not looking at major sweeping changes. But that's probably unlikely. But I'm just saying you can't write that off entirely. All right, Tony's going to take us around the rest of all these other issues people are dealing with in the National Football League. I hope they are anyway.
Now, Gems Around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Bill Belichick is expected to have a second visit with the Atlanta Falcons this weekend. He has already met with team owner Arthur Blank one-on-one this past week. Houston has signed wide receiver Damiere Byrd to their practice squad. Baltimore Ravens tight end Mark Andrews was a full participant in practice on Wednesday. The Ravens have also released running back Melvin Gordon from their roster and signed wide receiver Laquan Treadwell, whom they released a couple of days ago, to their practice squad. Buffalo wide receiver Gabe Davis missed practice on Wednesday with a knee injury. The Kansas City Chiefs have opened the 21-day practice window for wide receiver Sky Moore. And Los Angeles Rams running back Kyron Williams has undergone surgery to repair a broken bone in his hand. Head coach Sean McVay also said this week that tight end Tyler Higbee suffered a torn ACL and MCL on that hit against the Lions.
All right, thank you, Tony. This one from the YouTube chat. Mike, you run a Jags talk show with a fan base that is justifiably PO'd. Let us vent, man. This is what you get paid for. I don't. I get paid to do a talk show. How many shows on the station take calls, Tony, on a regular basis?
This one.
Okay? We let you vent every day.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we have to agree with everything you say.
Yeah.
It's not a forum to I'm going to say anything because I'm mad and I'm just going to say. If
the caller got to say what they wanted to say.
He said what he wanted to say. We had a conversation about it, as we usually do. But if I don't agree with you, I'm not just going to go, well, there's another opinion. I'm going to tell you I don't agree with you. That is part of my job, is to drive a conversation about it, not just who's next on the rant line, who's next on the it's not that. It's interaction. And if you're just going to call up and make statements, that's fine. Maybe you'll change my mind. Maybe I'll change your mind. But if I don't accept what you say as just a given fact, I'm not just going to go, well, there's another opinion on it. No, I'm sorry. We let you vent. But venting, it's a two-way conversation. It's a two-way street. It's not just I'm going to say what I want because I'm angry and you have to take it. That's not how it works. Sorry, it's just not. You get to say we don't even ask pockets as long as it's on the Jags. We don't even ask you to get specific when you're getting screened on what you're going to talk about.
No.
Try calling a national show. They're going to ask you exactly the point you're going to make when you go on the air, and if you don't make it, they're going to hang up on you. I know how it works. I know how the business works. We don't do that. We let you call up and vent every day. Whether you take advantage of that or not, that's up to you. But it doesn't come with no pushback. If we don't agree, we're not sitting there. We're not just like, robot, go to caller line 3 and then speak your piece onto line 4. No, we're going to react to what you say, man. And if you can't handle that, then I guess it's not the show for you. I don't know what to tell you, Anyway, let's come back, D-Rock. Let's look at the question of the day. What? You're laughing, but
I'm not laughing at you.
I hear this every single day. Yeah. I hear this every day. And then I'll also get, what are you getting all worked up about? It's only sports. Like, do you not want us to be passionate about the team we're covering here? Like, are you it's just crazy. I know you can't please everybody, never going to please everybody, but this idea that we don't let you have your say, of all the shows on this network, on this station, we're the one that always gives you your say. Always. Go. And I'm not faulting these other shows. Every show is different. They do great shows, right? There's all different ways to do it. You don't have to take calls to do a great radio show.
We've made it a priority since we got the show we want this to be a place where the fans can voice whatever opinion they have. We want to be that kind of billboard for them. Cool. That doesn't mean we have to agree with you when we open the phone lines.
And if we don't, we're going to let you know.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. Why do you argue with every caller? If they saying the same thing over and over and we don't agree with the point, what should we do? You know what? You've beaten me down into submission. You've rubbed me into a little nub, and I will give up now and stop reacting to what you say. It's not going to happen, all right? We'll come back. Question of the day on Calvin Ridley. Who does D-Rock think could be a cap casualty on this football team this offseason as we wrap things up on Jaguars Today? Straight ahead on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack time on the go. If you're driving around Duval and you get hungry, swing into an area gate station. They're all over the place. Fill up, take advantage of that climate-controlled condition as you head to the fresh case and settle down with that rumbling in your belly, because Dandy's got great options for you, whether you're losing weight or maintaining that weight loss like me. Look, they got fruit cups, veggie trays, protein packs, all kinds of light offerings like salads. They've also got all that classic breakfast fare, sandwiches, subs, you name it, something for everybody. Fantastic variety. The key is local ingredients, quality ingredients, great variety, prices that are kept reasonable year-round. That's Dandy. They're the Thompson family, a local company that has been thriving for over 6.5 decades because they keep the formula simple, but they don't treat you like you're simple. The great variety, and take advantage of it when you're hungry. Go out and make yours a Dandy. Do it today.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go. Your home for Gators Hoops is 1010XL.
It's 2 in a row on the road as Florida travels to Mizzou. Gators Tigers, Saturday at 8 on 1010XL. Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
If you have had problems selling your home or haven't even bothered selling because of the problems that you would expect, here's a promise for you. Chad and Sandy of chadandsandy.com guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Simple as that, right? So if maybe you are worried about selling for less money, or maybe you want maximum equity from your home but not sure how, they have the answers, the solutions, the promises to take care of all that. Take it from Debbie in Orange Park. I was going through a divorce and needed to be close to family quickly. I was going to sell my home to an instant offer investor for $375, but I heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio and decided to call. Thank goodness. Chad and Sandy got me $45,000 more in just 3 days. Call the only agents we're trusting and recommending. Call Chad and Sandy at chadandsandy.com. The number is 904-414-6200, or you can go to chadandsandy.com. That's chadandsandy.com.
Feeling the chill or breaking a sweat in your own home? Call JTM Comfort Services. Father-son owned and veteran operated with 40 years experience to serve the Guggen Nation. JTM Comfort Services gets it right the first time, providing top-notch service, maintenance, and replacements for your heating and cooling needs. Get up to $1,300 back on the new system. Right now, get a free service call with any repair or replacement. Licensed and insured, visit jtmcooling.com.
Your comfort is our name. Call my dad to keep you in the game.
Hey folks, Hicken here. Now that your kids and grandkids have gone home and the decorations are coming down, I bet you can see it's time to get those carpets and sofas cleaned. I'm telling you, give Zero Res a try if you haven't already. They clean the carpet, the sofa, the chairs, the area rugs, and even the tile and grout. Google them. More than 5,000 five-star customer reviews. And right now, 20% off carpet cleanings, 20% off upholstery. Zero Res. Use spell it forward, you spell it backwards. Zero res is the right way to clean.
Zero res.
Shen Yun shows are coming January 30th to 31st to Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts. Shen Yun revives 5,000 years of civilization through choreographed dance, with music combining classical Western and Chinese instruments and dynamic 3D backdrop. Come see it at least once in your lifetime. January 30th through 31st. Tickets at shenyun.com/FL.
Weekends were made for sports, and I'll tell you my take on this weekend's best options. Pick it here. Watch for Weekend with Dan on YouTube and Facebook. Weekend with Dan is brought to you by Stone Core. We do outdoors better.
Pacifico is brewed for those who let go of the things that don't matter and hold on to the ones that do. That's living life anchors up.
Pacifico, found in Baja, imported by surfers. Ask for a Pacifico when you're ready to live life anchors up.
Pacifico is a crisp golden lager, brewed for those who know. It's what's behind a label that matters.
No dental insurance? No problem. Introducing the Care Plus program from the dental offices of Dr. James McCall. For only $625 per year, you will receive 2 cleanings and dental exams, a full set of x-rays, plus 1 emergency dental exam and x-ray. You'll also receive a 20% discount on all other services offered. Kids 12 and under will receive the same program for only $525. Call Dr. McCall today at 620-9225.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and this month I want to talk to you about welcoming the winds of change in your life. But so often, when we see the winds of change coming our way, our immediate response is to fight it. Friends, when you see things in your life changing, when the winds of change are coming your way, don't fight it, but embrace it. Recognize that God is stirring you up so that you too can soar like an eagle.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
This is Dr. James Perry, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jags wide receiver Calvin Ridley finished the year off with 76 receptions, totaling 1,016 yards with 8 touchdowns. While Ridley wants to remain in Duval, it may all come down to the financial side and whether he stays, according to Jags senior writer John Osher.
He said during the getaway day interview, he mentioned contract, whatever it was, it's going to come down to money, and for him, if he has a choice in it, his financial situation is going to weigh very heavily, as it should. That's sort of where I'm at. I think they want him back. I don't know if they'll be able to meet at a place that makes sense for both.
I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. It's a Mike DeRocco Thursday on Jaguars Today. Is brought to you by Lloyd's Heating and Air on 1010XL.
All kidding aside, we think we have a great lineup of co-hosts that join us here on Jaguars Today. And D-Rock just looked at me like, what? What did he just say?
Jeff and...
Stop it. D-Rock and all the rest of them, okay? That's usually what we refer to them as. D-Rock and those other fellows. No, but in all seriousness, we're looking forward to run it. We ran it back this year, the same group. It's a great group. We think we give you former offensive players, former defensive players, analysts, beat writer like yourself, team website writer, and John Ozier. All different angles, different perspectives, and we hope you enjoy it. All kidding aside, I mean, we look at this kind of as a gathering place of different Jaguar opinions. We've got our own, but Tony and I lean on guys like Mike and others who are not part of the regular rotation, Demetrius Harvey and John Shipley, of course, our own Hayes Carline, Mia O'Brien. There's a lot of great Jaguar reporting going on out there. Not everyone's going to have the same point of view. So, D-Rock, we do love having you, and we appreciate you. And thank you for being part of another successful broadcast season, if not successful on the field as much as Jaguar fans like.
Down the stretch.
I hope not. I mean, look, there are people who think I falter every day, and that's fine. All right, but we look forward to having you back again for the 2024 season and periodically throughout the offseason as well. So it's just that part of that natural life cycle of the Jaguars Today co-hosts, that it's time for them to go into hibernation.
Yes.
So just a little bit. All right. Today's question of the day, presented by Chad and Sandy Real Estate. We got work to do to get up to that 1,100, 1,200 vote threshold like the last couple of days. What do you think will happen with Calvin Ridley this offseason? Jags franchise tag him, he gets a multi-year deal with the Jags, or he leaves in free agency? D-Rock, how would you vote on this?
I expect Josh Allen to get the franchise tag.
Okay. That eliminates number one.
Right. The deal is going to – Calvin Ridley said in the locker room afterwards that money is going to matter to him.
Sure.
As it should. So let's not kill the kid for that. They want him back, but my gut feel, my guess right now is that he walks. He signs somewhere else.
All right. Tony, what about you?
Ooh, the options are so limited in free agency that I would vote. I tend to think that it's not unlikely that he gets a one-year deal here to stay in Jacksonville beyond the franchise tag. I don't think that's unlikely.
I would put that under the multi-year deal.
Right,
you know, any contract not on the franchise
right,
tag.
But with that in mind, I think they figure out a way to keep him here and not on the tag.
I'm with you simply because the market isn't flush with immediate receiver talent. Let me ask you, D-Rock. Zay Jones, it flips. This year, he counted like $5.5 million against the cap with an $11 million dead cap hit. So obviously he's on the team. It flips for 2024. He's going to count about $11 million against the cap. The dead cap hit is about $5 million. Is Zay Jones a part of this football team this year, or is he a cap casualty?
No, I think Zay Jones is back.
You do at that number?
Yeah. They already pushed some of his money out anyway. So
yeah, he was one of the restructures.
One of the restructure guys. So yeah, I do think Zay is back. Yes.
Okay. Do they have to? You think Ridley's gone? What do they do at wide receiver? Is it a first rounder? Is it take someone later and hope for the best? Or do you think they will go out there? Because I'm right. My official vote is with Tony. I think when they look at the market, I don't think it's going to be like this 5-year blockbuster deal. I could see it being like a 2-year deal with a team option for the third year.
Look,
or
I'd be
something
fine
in
if they
those
let him
lines.
walk in Mike Evans for 2-3 years. Cool. I'm
And
on board with that plan.
I don't think we're getting Mike Evans.
But I don't think that's how it's going to work.
I think that Mike Evans will stay in Tampa.
I do too.
And I think T. Higgins will ultimately stay
Yeah.
in Cincinnati. I hope
so
I'm
you'll
wrong.
be debating between, Michael Pittman and Calvin Ridley, basically, and Marquise Brown. Like, those will be the premier top of the market wide receivers ultimately that are going to be available.
I think he's an interesting one to keep
and
an
Gabe
eye on.
Davis is interesting, right? Because he would be the take the top off guy. I don't know what else he gives you, but he does give you that with size.
Right. Right. He does give you, I don't know, boy, at what expense?
But that's the water that you're treading into if it's not Calvin Ridley.
Marquise Brown is interesting because he does have that beep, beep speed.
No doubt.
Like he is really fast.
Yes.
And if you want a field stretcher that's not going to command likely $20 million a year, like I've seen his market projection at like 14, something like that, which usually, I'll admit, those are usually low, right? The market projections are often low on some of these. I don't even know how they tabulate them, like what they're counting on. All right, here's where the poll stands right now. Jags franchise tag Ridley, 48.2%. I will admit it's guys like D-Rock, Ozier, other Jaguar daily reporters who are in that building as often as you are that have convinced me that they're more likely to use the franchise tag on Josh Allen. And because that's coming up, man. I mean,
it's next month.
It is. It's March 4th is the deadline. So there's still some time. There's a 2-week window from about the 20th of February to March 4th that you can apply the tag, and then the league year starts about 10 or 11 days after that. Ray Sean, a cap casualty this year? Cam Robinson.
No, I think he's back.
You think Cam will be back? You said Zay Jones you think will be back. Who am I missing?
I think Brandon Sheriff's a casualty.
Brandon Sheriff, there's another one. You think so you're opening up right guard, right? And Cooper Hodges is going to be a candidate. I don't think you can count on that being the answer, that spot. You think Ezra Cleveland is back?
Yes.
They'll re-sign him?
Yes, I do.
I'm okay with that, by the way, if that's the route they go. And I've
better address center.
I've started to come around to the idea of letting Cam walk, saving the $16 million, re-signing Ezra, putting Anton on the left side, and drafting a right tackle in the first round. And you still have Walker Little, so you can either ease the new guy in. Little can play there for a year. Little can be a contender to play inside, end up being your swing tackle. There are a lot of different combinations. But what I really want to know is the accurate amount of cap space the Jags have. I think we all realize it really depends on the source you're looking at any given point in time. But at best, they're like middle of the pack in the National Football League. And you got a couple of teams in your division in Houston and Indy that have some of the most cap space in the league. And they're your main competition right now, and they've got the wherewithal to improve greatly with some veteran additions. So, all right.
Going to be fun.
It could be. I hope it's fun. It's definitely going to be something to watch and listen to. Let's welcome in XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Tire Outlet is now hiring. Visit TireOutlet.com/careers. Equal opportunity employer.
All right, we've got Mr. Matt Hayes, Skinny Matt, as I like to call him these days, my Awaken 180 buddy. What's up, brother? How are you? You're doing very well.
Thank you.
It's very noticeable. People wonder, oh, you're losing this weight. No, you trust me. If you know Matt, you'd say, wow, damn, man, kicking butt. So
all three of us, actually. D-Rock also looked great.
D-Rock, Tony, I think.
He looks sexy,
always
actually.
looks handsome.
I do, really?
Right.
But,
yeah.
What about Rayshon Jenkins, by the way?
I don't think he's back.
Yeah. I'm going to move Johnson in there, right?
Nope.
Yeah, Rayshon and Sheriff, you think, are the two main cap
I
casualties.
think so, yes.
What about you, Matt? You think Zay Jones is back, or they could save about $6 of his $11 million by walking away from Zay Jones?
I don't know, but how about the quote-unquote bone bruise all year? Just a bone bruise. We knew it was more than that. You're not out for multiple stretches for a bone bruise.
Yeah.
I don't know. When he's healthy, he's good. Man. I mean, I think if you could figure out a way to keep him, I would keep him.
I mean, you could figure out a way. Just don't let him go.
Healthy
by figure out a way, I mean if he takes less.
Well, okay. Well, see, then I think we'd all be like,
Right.
yeah, that'd be
Right.
great. But I don't know if Zay is
You
looking
might
to
be
do
able
that.
to, though, because he's coming off an injury season. You may be able to.
Maybe. It depends. I mean, $11 million is not a massive number for a receiver. He might be able to draw that on the open market. It's hard to know, you know.
He stays healthy, though. $11 million is worth it. If he's a healthy guy, I think he's a pretty good
All right,
player,
well,
man.
He's
Today-
the only guy
I
they
do.
have that takes the top off.
You know, and Logs doesn't Logs thinks he's a double move tick. He doesn't think he just blows by guys. You know, we talked about this the other day that Logs thinks we need. That's why Marquise Brown may be intriguing. We need that guy who you line up and every single time just speed alone. You got to contend with this guy potentially stretching the field. What about Ridley? Today's question today: will they franchise tag him? Will they work out an extension beyond, let's say they get to the league year. We all believe once they get to the new league year, the second-round pick's off the table, so they could sign him to an extension then. Or does he leave in free agency? What do you think?
You know, honestly, there's two trains of thought here. You know, he worked his way back into playing this year. He'll be a different player next year, or he is who he is. And if he is who he is, that's a problem. You just let him go. But you're taking that gamble. You're literally taking that gamble because if he does become the guy he was with the Falcons, then you've got to do. I would let him go. If you're asking me what I would do, I would let him go.
It's tough. If you do let him go, you got to fill that spot in a big way. And there's not much out there. If T. Higgins and Mike Evans don't shake loose from their teams, are you willing to get into a bidding war over Marquise Brown? There aren't many guys. I mean, is Michael Pittman the type of receiver that you want for this team?
Zay Jones.
Kind of.
That's what he is to me.
Yeah.
Like, he's Zay Jones with a lot of volume because of the team he's
Occasionally gets deep.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a good point.
Look, I don't think these are things we can answer in 2 minutes, but they're
No, but they're talking about it.
right,
Yeah.
and that's what we do. We pose these questions, we mull them, we might feel one way about them one day and switch it up the next day, depending on conditions. What do you got coming up on the show today?
We were talking Jags. We're talking a little college football. The Cowboys. Mike McCarthy. Wow, doubling down.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Dak played like an MVP. They won 12 games each year. I get it. You reach a certain point that you got to get beyond that, but I'm not that shocked about it. I guess I'm shocked because it's Jerry Jones. Like, if it was a normal ownership I'm not that shocked about.
He's also a guy who has said publicly many times, "I'm getting older."
Yeah,
and there's only so many more years that I got a chance of winning.
But is there a guarantee? Like, all right, you get Belichick. Does that guarantee you're? I don't know if it does.
There are no guarantees.
Dak had Dak's had some good seasons, but he really flourished with McCarthy this year, so didn't do it in the postseason.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. All right, have a good show today.
Thanks, guys.
All right, you got it. That'll do it for us for a while with Mike DiRocco. D-Rock, what do you got cooking over at ESPN.com?
Going down to the Pro Bowl in a couple of weeks and working on some stories about the stadium. And got a Trevor Lawrence story down the pipe working on about his offseason and turnovers and all that kind of stuff. So got a lot of things going.
All right. I think a lot of Jags are going to end up in that Pro Bowl, with as many guys pulling out with all the alternates, and I think we'll see a bunch of them participating in whatever they do down there.
I'm expecting Evan Ingram to be there, I would think.
Oh, for sure. But I think you might see half dozen or more when it's all said and done. There's always attrition.
Yes.
With guys getting surgeries and whatnot at this time of year, and once you get named, you get your bonus, and
right.
Do I really want to go to Orlando and take part in a skills competition? I think is the question. Anyway, D-Rock, have a great off season.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be calling you from time to time, and hopefully you'll share your expertise with us.
Yeah, hopefully we'll play golf when it's not below freezing.
Yeah, it won't be. Is it going to be below freezing this weekend, Pockets?
It'll be in the 40s.
Okay, that's above freezing. I think it's going to be right around 50, actually. Pretty balmy, but nevertheless,
balmy.
I'll see you out there at some point on the first tee. All right, that'll do it for us today. Tom McManus will join the program tomorrow as we wrap up the week. For Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thank you for listening to Jaguars Today. Stick around. XL Primetime is next on 1010 XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic